Okay, guys, in this interview, I actually interviewed this woman before I ever knew that I was going to meet her face to face. And once we had the opportunity, she's actually not from my state at all. She's from the central time zone. I'm in the eastern time zone, but she was coming through where I live and I was able to actually meet her in person. And she's like so cool, so warm, so fun to be around. She's super inspirational. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce her and then we're going to get into the show. So this is KJ Blattenbauer, and she is a powerhouse publicist overlooked experts into headline news. With nearly 30 years of experience, she's the go-to pro when you're ready to stop being ignored and start owning the spotlight. Her work has been featured everywhere from Forbes to Architectural Digest, and she's the author of a DIY PR book, How to Be a Media Darling. She's an author of another book now, which side note, I digress, but this is where I met her, was on her book tour. And it's called Pitchworthy. And so it also comes with a little workbook if you want to buy that as an extension. She's known for her bold yet approachable style. KJ delivers a clear, actionable strategies that build authority and credibility and revenue. Without further ado, let's get into the show. KJ, welcome to the Chit Chat. I am so excited. It's been a long time since I've done interviewing and having a guest on my show. So I'm really excited to bring you in as some freshness. And I have, again, for those of you who are listening, I bring guests on the show that I do not know personally whatsoever. So that's part of the vibe is I don't know this person, but I go and study them and I stalk them. And I did a lot of stalking on you, KJ, and you're really cool. So I'm excited for you to be here all the way from Dallas, Texas. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm KJ Blattenbauer. I've spent nearly 30 years in public relations behind the scenes of media, shaping narratives, placing experts, and helping brands move from overlooked, completely unknown to in demand and household names. Currently, I have my own agency. It's called Hearsay PR, and I work with founders who are talented, credible, and exhausted from just guessing at how to make themselves more visible. And so I help them stop chasing attention and being burnt out from posting all day long. And I help them start building authority that actually compounds into press, positioning, sales, and like presence that makes them be the trusted advisor in their industry.
Hell yeah. I love that so much. Okay, so we're gonna do I already have so many questions, and I was just telling KJ before we started recording, I don't come into these shows with questions prepared. I like to feel it out and kind of just take the conversation where the conversation goes. And so first thing, I have some questions in my head, but the first thing that I want to ask you is take us back to how you kind of stumbled into what you're doing now. Where did this start and why are you passionate about this?
I'm from a very small town in North Dakota, outside Fargo, North Dakota. So every once in a while you can hear the accent, right? But I grew up in a town where literally more cows than people. And so if you ever did anything, by the time you got home, your parents already knew about it, right? Like
Mm,
everyone's famous in a small town, everyone knows your business. And so I feel like I learned really early on how quickly to shape the narrative in my favor. Like, oh, my friends got in trouble for partying. Wasn't there. I was at the movies, like I feel like that was my baptism by fire before I even knew what public relations was. When I went to college, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to argue. I wanted to fight the good fight. I was going to be one of those people. And then I hated my law classes. And so I took
mm.
communications to try and get out of school early, take that gap semester. I was going to travel Europe. I was going to see the world. Then I was going to come back to law school and really do something with my life. I never came back to law school because I just hated those classes so bad. But the 2 weeks I had in public relations and the promotions and the shaping people's issues, the work study job I had working in the athletic office, all of those things led me to I love hyping people up. I love telling people stories. I love seeing people's excitement when they see something for the first time or they hear something for the first time and it becomes their favorite thing. And so just fell in love with it. I found the biggest city close to home, which was Minneapolis, and I pretty much talked my way into a public relations internship. And
Wow.
it's history.
That's crazy. Do you have lawyers in your family or what led the lawyer passion?
Yeah, I have lawyers in my family. My dad was a lawyer. He was a district attorney, state's attorney. He was a judge for a long time. My coolest cousin is a lawyer. Now he's a judge. And so people I looked up to, yes, I thought that big city lawyer, and then growing up, all the legal dramas, right? Like they had the best outfits, they had the best
Yes.
haircuts. Those women they were taking names, they were cracking skulls, they were the coolest people. So, really no basis for why I wanna like, very, very surface level why I wanted
For
to
sure,
be there.
for sure. Yeah, I respect it. We grew up on Legally Blonde, so we all wanted to
Yeah,
we wanted to be
right?
that.
Yeah, and
I
isn't that
love
what
that.
every lawyer has?
Right, exactly. Okay, so when you went to Minneapolis and you got the internship, what was
Mhm.
that like, and what type of like, was it a corporate company? What was that experience like for you?
It was a rude awakening, honestly. So, I
Mm,
started in for the internet. We were still looking up names of reporters in phone books and getting like paper cuts from trying to go through the pages so fast. I started for $7.50 an hour. That was my
oh my
internship. Couldn't even
gosh.
afford like my apartment. And it was ancient times, but still not enough money to live. I thought I was going to be like hanging with celebrities, going to these parties, sipping drinks at the pool. No, I was running to get people's coffee orders. I was making sure like pens were stocked. I was faxing things left and right and picking up dry cleaning. And so when I could get someone to like teach me the ropes or show me something, the 2 weeks I had in public relations classes didn't even give me the tip of the iceberg of what it really was like. I worked at an international PR agency. We had clients all over the world. I was in the very glamorous world of technology, like semiconductor manufacturing and
Mm,
other manufacturing. Like real sexy stuff. What everyone wants when they think of their dream job. But it was really great because it taught me to take the most uninteresting engineers who don't want to talk to you because they just don't want to talk to anybody, much less the PR girl. But how to read like an instruction manual or a manual on what something is and make it interesting. And I think that that helped me learn how to tell stories for everyone from here on out because I started pretty much like, here's this weird computer chip no one cares about. How do we make this exciting? Oh, we're going to throw a parade in the middle of St. Paul. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. People dressed up like super discs. So all sorts of strange things come from not knowing what to do with yourself. Like it's their creativity. So I think some of the being naive about what it was, not having like the New York School of Communications, the Manhattan PR experience. I think coming from a small town made me scrappier and resourceful because I'm like, oh, I don't know what I don't know, so might as well try it. Can't hurt. And so I think that that helped me out a lot.
yeah, I think that's fascinating because the way you paint that picture is it sounds miserable. Like the last thing that I want to do is get people's coffee for them, but I know like that's in that industry, like you got to start there. And so I'm
Yeah.
curious, like you're making this sound like you fell in love with the idea of romanticizing things that most people don't romanticize, like making things a big deal that most people don't make a big deal. But when you were going through the bull crap of that role, was there like a vision that you had, or was there someone that you looked up to and you were like, I see a North Star in this? I'm passionate about this and I can't let it go. Like, describe that feeling. And the reason that I'm asking this question is I think a lot of women in business, especially in the online space, they witness other women succeeding and they see that as like a North Star. Like, I want to be like her. Or I want to have that type of money and that type of lifestyle. And sometimes that can be enough to keep someone going. But I think as I'm listening to just the beginning of your story, and I know it's only a sprinkle of the entire cake, as I'm listening to it, it's like there was something there early on for you where you were like, "Ooh, I love this." How would you describe what that was?
I think it's the adventure of it. Every day is a different day. Like you have no idea what it's going to be one day to the next. Your calendar might say one thing and it is not going to turn out that way. But I also think I had amazing mentors. I had amazing peers. I had amazing bosses, all females, which, it's weird because public relations, all the worker bees are female, and it's very rare someone VP and above is a male. Back, especially when I started. But when I started at Fleshman Hillard, I had an amazing supervisor. Her name was Sarah McNeil, and she was the coolest person, like dressed cool, was cool, kindest person, taught me all sorts of things, both good and bad about the industry. And then, I think there was a woman named Betty, I can't think of her last name, and she was actually running Fleshman Hillard. And she was one of the very few women that was running an agency, much less an international agency at the time. And I just thought, if they can do it, I can totally do it. And they would encourage you. Whereas PR is a cutthroat business, right? Like there were 175 people that interviewed for the PR internship I got. And the only reason I got my internship, I was the only person that wrote a handwritten thank you. It's not because
Oh
I
my
was talented,
gosh.
I was scrappy. It was because someone taught me manners and no one else was, no one else even thought to do that. And so I didn't get there on my skills, but once I was there, I was going to prove that I belonged there. right? So I worked my butt off, but I think I had great people that supported me and showed me the ropes on what kept me going when it was hard. You're on a deadline. Everyone else's emergency is your crisis. It's unrealistic demands. It's very stressful. It's all the emotions because people have put their blood, sweat, tears, and all their money into their product, their service, their business, and then they're paying you or paying the agency very well to get their story out. So there's this pressure, constant pressure. And I always have to remind myself that on your worst day in business, when you could have negative press, your stock could be plummeting, it could be your job on the line. Your publicist is the one person that can help pull you out of there. You are their one lifeline. And if I was that person in that dark hole, I'd want someone to reach their hand out to me. Likewise, on the other end of it, on people's best day, when they're getting their first magazine cover, their first podcast interview, their name up in lights, maybe they're winning their first award, there is nothing on this earth better than that feeling of seeing your client achieve that. It's like a proud mama bear moment.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
love
that
that.
really keeps me going and has from the
Yeah.
very beginning.
Yeah. I relate to that a lot in my line of work. It's unmatched. It's like it's one thing to have your own milestone achievements, but it's another thing to be part of the journey for someone else to achieve something. It's just like the fulfillment is out of this world.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went from Minneapolis, right? Is that what you said?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
Yeah.
And now you're
Mhm.
in Texas. What
Yes.
happened? Tell us how that happened. That's a stretch.
So I spent yeah, well, I got cold. It's very, very cold in Minneapolis. So Minneapolis was the biggest city close to home. It was the closest place I could find a PR job. That's where I started. I spent 13 years in Minneapolis. I worked for agencies, international, local. I went corporate, worked for US Bank Corp. I did some crisis communications. Then I got a job with Dow Chemical doing their crisis
Yeah,
communications. I split my time between middle of nowhere, Michigan, where it's headquartered, and
where I'm from.
Minneapolis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's Dow Chemical, and then there's kind of nothing around there, right? So it was
Yes.
going back and forth every week from friends and home to work and back. And crisis communication is really heavy. It can wear you out real fast. And so I got myself a role with Lifetime Fitness. I was their head of public relations for solid 6 years, for a while. But I helped them grow their clubs from reactive, like, oh no, there's a problem in the club. Oh no, this person's causing whatever, to hey, proactively, we have a spa, we have a salon, we have all these classes. This is what you need for fitness. Help them launch their events division. And around that time, I was going through a divorce. I was freezing cold. I'd never lived anywhere from the Midwest. And so I decided, if I'm going to do something that scares me, I have to do it now. Like, I'm not getting any younger. I'm going to be in my mid 30s. Now is the time. And so I quit my job without having a job. I moved to San Diego, California without knowing a single person. I'd been there to work 2 events, moved into an apartment sight unseen, which I highly do not recommend anyone ever do. And, and then the first week I was like, well, I can't find a job that pays a living wage here, especially in public relations. Because out there, it's entertainment industry, right? And everyone wants to work in entertainment. They can pay you nothing, but they're like, it's entertainment. You're going to love it. I didn't know anything about entertainment PR. It wasn't for me. And so I just called everyone I'd ever done events with, brands I thought were cool, competitors I couldn't work with when I was at Lifetime. By the end of that first week, I had 13 clients. And so that's how I
Holy
started my own
crap.
agency. And so I spent 6 years in San Diego, Laguna Beach, back in San Diego when I met my
Wow.
now husband. And, about 2016, we moved out to Texas, and it's close enough to home. It's warm enough. I can get anywhere I need to go for my clients. But yeah, that's how I
What
went
a
all around the world.
Yeah, holy moly. I knew you were cool. I'm like, geez, that is like that's an amazing story. I feel like to bet on yourself continuously and to go all in like that without proof is I have mad respect for that. So that's a really cool story.
It's delusion for sure. It's
For
delusion
sure.
before I think delusion was cool to have. But I also think if you're not going to bet on yourself, no one else is going to bet on you. And
Mhm.
the worst thing that could happen is that, what am I do? Fail? Like, I grew up in a small town. They have already called me every name. I've been laughed at for everything. Like, I used to look like a little boy with a haircut. Nothing is going to take me to the bag this point in life. I've already been there growing up. But I think my grandpa told me one time when I was younger that I could be anything I wanted to be when I grew up. And I took that to heart, like maybe too much, because my saying now is, how hard can it be? And usually it's really effing hard. But I mean, if it doesn't kill you,
Makes you
there you
stronger.
go.
There you
Right,
go, for
right.
sure. I love that. That's really cool. What did your family think when you were you so you're going through a divorce, you're in Michigan and you're like, okay, I'm going to move to California with no plan. What was your support system? What did they think?
That I was absolutely insane, that I needed to either one of them thought I needed to be committed, the other group thought I needed medication. Everyone was very, very worried, and they would show up unannounced at, like, my door, and I'd be like, "I'm traveling 43 weeks of a year, like, why are you here? Like, I gotta catch a flight." And they're like, "Just wanna check on you." Like, everyone was tiptoeing around me like I was damaged goods, and I was having the time of my life. In hindsight, I appreciate them for being concerned,
Yeah.
but I was good. I knew
Yeah.
what I was doing. I can see
Yeah.
why to others it kinda is like, "Well, that is absolutely insane," but, it worked out. It worked
Yeah.
out.
I love that. Okay, so I want you to bring us full-fledged forward, and I want you to tell us about your life in a way of like, I have it so good. Like, tell us. I mean, I see your book sitting behind you. It's so beautiful, and I want you to kind of like brag on yourself. So you just kind of brought us through a crash course of all the things you navigated. Paint the life now. Like you're probably in love with your husband. Like go everywhere where you're like, I have it really good, and tell us what those things are.
I do have it really good. I cry 3 times a week because I am so blessed and I am so lucky, and I am not an emotional person, so it feels weird to even say that out loud, but even just thinking about it right now, like, I'm starting to get teary because
Yeah, I
I
have
have worked
goosebumps. That's
so
so cool.
hard for so long. I get to wake up every morning whenever I want to. I get to work with whoever I want to. I get to travel wherever I want to, talk about whatever I want to, help whoever I want to, and if I don't feel like doing it that day, I don't have to do it anymore. I've been to I'm a baseball fan. I'm huge. I got to work with baseball for 10 years and do so many cool things. I've seen every major league and minor league stadium, which is like huge if you're into
Yeah,
baseball, right?
that's
I got to
huge.
work with my personal idol, Pete Rose, until he passed away. Dear friend, miss him so much. And help him fix his reputation. I've just been to every cool sporting event I ever dreamed of going to as a kid, and I think I know I'm a little girl from the middle of nowhere who, when I took my aptitude test in high school, which I don't know if they still make you take, but they used to make you take this test where it'd be like, this is a profession you might be good at. And I'm so old that they didn't even call them administrative assistants. They just told me I was going to be a good secretary if I was even employable. Like, that's literally what it said. Like, I don't think it could tell you to be a stay-at-home mom, but it was like, would be great around the house or secretary. And I was like, I am thoroughly offended by this. Um, but, like, there was no like, my other friends were like, "You're gonna be a doctor." One was gonna be an astronaut, and I'm like, "Gonna be a great secretary?" Like,
Oh my
really?
gosh.
So I think but I've written 2 books. I get to go on a book tour in a couple of weeks. Like, there is no I feel like I wasn't the most popular kid in high school. I was in
Mhm.
sports, I think that helped me. I was never the kid picked last, but I for sure wasn't the kid picked first. Like, I was never homecoming queen. I wasn't any of those things. It still feels good for, like, people be like, "Hey, we want you to fly to Paris and speak at our business conference, and we'll pay for you." And I'm like, "Is this a joke? Is this what we're doing? We're gonna go to Paris in March? Okay." Like, I get to do cool things like that
Dude,
every single day, and I just want everyone else to get to do that. Like, I wanna bring my girlfriends with me. I want everyone to succeed, and I wanna share everything I get to do, and I don't care how hard I have to work at it, I just wanna help the next person so it's not as hard for them. I love my life so much, and my green flag golden retriever husband and my 2 rescue golden retrievers, like, whatever we can do for anyone else, we'll do for everyone else, but I love my life.
hell yes. I cheers with my coffee mug to that. I love that
Thanks.
so much, and I'm really proud of you. I can tell you've worked your ass off for this, and so
Well, thank
I'm
you.
I'm truly honored to have you on my show. I think it's so cool. What do you do so in your line of work today? Like you are getting ready to go on a book tour, but do you still have clients that you work with? Like what does your day-to-day business look like? You have this agency. Tell us more about that. Like what is all of that?
Sure. So I have a full roster of clients. There are 3 ways to work with me, and everyone starts at the same place. I call it a PR strategy session, and I
Mhm.
send you a form. You fill it out, answer all the questions, and then you or I would get on the phone or meet in person for about 2 hours. I'm going to ask you even more questions to the point of where you're probably going to be exhausted. Then I disappear for about 5 days and I come back, and you're going to have I call it a 90-day strategy plan, but I've had clients who use theirs for 6 years because it's basically a here's how you look at your business, think about your business, talk about your business. Here's how we're going to pitch it, rinse and repeat. And so some people will just take that and run with it if they have a team or a virtual assistant, people who are capable and can handle things. Other people go down to my second offering, which is a mentorship. And that's basically a publicist in your pocket. So we'll get on the phone, it's coaching. So we'll get on the phone 2 times a month for about 30 minutes each. I'll give you marching orders, you'll bounce ideas off me, and then we'll talk in Basecamp or email in between the sessions, but they go do the heavy lifting. That's my low end offer. So it's either you start with a strategy session, then you either go do it yourself, you move down to PR mentorship, or I have clients right now who just don't have time. They need to be in their zone of genius. I do their full-time public relations for them. So I probably have 6 full-time clients right now. I probably have 10 in my mentor program. And I try and cap my strategy sessions at about 6 per month, just because the mental load of creating something that big for someone, it takes time for me
Yeah,
because I want
absolutely.
to over deliver every time.
It sounds, yeah, I believe that about you for sure. And I went to your Instagram profile and it looks like you spend a lot of time like being a guest on other podcasts. Is that what I'm seeing? Like, is that
Mm,
wh-
I do.
okay? I'm curious. I have two questions. One
Mhm.
is, how do you get so good at your networking so that you're able to do that? And then number two, would you say that your clients that find you, so six plans that you're creating per month as a cap, that feels like a lot. Like, where are these people coming from? How do they find you? Would you attribute that to your all of the other the PR that you're doing? Like, how would you describe those things?
So it's been an interesting case study, and I've used myself as like the guinea pig. I spent 2 years not even on social media. Had a stalker incident,
Wow.
freaked me out, didn't want to be on
Yeah.
social media, didn't want to have anything out there because I've run my business, my PR agency for the last 14 years, straight referral. Never run ads, never had to beg for clients, never just referral from people I work with, people I know, people who saw me working other events. I've been blessed that way. But at a certain point, the referral system, a friend of a friend is not always the best client, right? And a lot of my clients don't want people to know they work with me because they either don't want to share me or they don't want to admit that they need or have a publicist. Like,
Interesting.
people are just kind of weird that way. But, to each their own. We all have our things that we're weird about, right? I'm weird about a variety of things. So I haven't used social media for 2 years. I didn't have to pitch or promote, wasn't running any ads for my business. And about September of this year, when the book was coming online, my publisher's like, okay, now we have to promote. What did you think about doing? And I was like, I didn't promote my last book. I haven't thought about doing anything. And he's like, well, you got to do something. And I'm like, but do I have to do something? Can I just slap up, And he goes, no, you're gonna have to do something. And then I had taken a client to the Today Show. We're in the green room. She's about to go on, and she's just like, thank you. This is going to change my life. She's like, I'm so scared. I think I'm going to throw up on Hoda, but like, um, how come you don't ever go out there? How come you don't ever do this, KJ? And I kind of thought about it and I was like, because I don't want to. I designed my life to be behind the camera, not in front of it. And so she said, well, if I'm going to go out there and not throw up on anyone, if I crush this, she's like, I think you should start putting yourself in front of the camera. So I said, well, I placated her. I got her through her thing. She killed it. We had the time of our lives in New York. And then it stuck with me on the flight home. I'm like, she's right. I make all my clients do these things. I pep talk them. And then I don't do any of those things for myself. So between the publisher and her, I started thinking, and I'm like, all right, fine. For 15 minutes a night, starting September 29th, I'm going to start treating myself like my client. I'm going to pitch myself. And that's how I started going on podcasts. Within a month, I had 65 appearances. I'm now at 157.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
maybe 20 of those have even gone live or online. I've probably made $40,000 additional in revenue because of the media blitz I've gone on just to promote the book, right? And like the book's not even available yet. You can't even buy the book. So, I mean, and spoiler alert, like no one gets rich from writing a book, right? That's not why you write the book. But yeah, I think that a majority of my business is still referral. And I'm very, very particular about who I will take as a full-time client. But a large part of it lately, since October, has been strategy sessions there, and they're coming from the podcast. And it's not even like top 1%. I think I had 2 or 3 sessions alone from a podcast that had maybe, if you looked at the stats, 200 listeners or downloads a month. So you really it's but the key is I'm not trying to go on every single podcast. I'm not trying to go on every single magazine. I don't want to be in Forbes. I know where my target audience is and they're busy multitasking. So when they have a second, they're listening to a female founder and female empowering podcasts. So I only aim for those. And so I think when you know who your audience is, when you're very particular about it, and you have a system, a rinse and repeat system, it's very easy to do your own publicity very quickly in just a couple minutes a day.
Yeah, man, that's so freaking cool. What a cool story. And I love that you're um taking the time to introspect when your clients and your publisher is questioning you and you're like, "Oh, I need to look inward and I need to see what this is about." I have two things to say. First of all, September 29th is my birthday, and that was the night that you said that you know, started doing the podcast thing. And then the second thing is I am so curious and um, I want to be respectful. So if you don't want to open up too much about this, this is okay. But you mentioned that the stalker thing, and
Yes.
I have a very similar experience where part
Mhm.
of a block for me um, over I would say the last decade has I never share where I am on social media. I never talk about it. I never I'm very, I mean, even if I'm recording in my content corner, which is in front of some windows, I make sure there's nothing that you can see outside of the windows to be able to locate me because I've had similar experience to what it sounds like
Mhm.
you have had.
Yep.
However, it hasn't stopped me from persevering, but it is part of something that I think hurts me sometimes. So I'm curious if you could talk to us about your mindset around healing that or getting over that, or I actually don't think you ever get over it, but the way that you've moved through it.
I think it's your support network. First of all, I'm very sorry that it's something that you're going through. I'm very, very sorry for anyone who is experiencing it at any level, but I'm also extremely sorry for the people who don't even recognize they're going through it because the people around them are gaslighting them to think they're making a
Mm,
bigger deal out of something than they are, which is how my network was in the very beginning. They're like, oh, it's just cute. They're just flirting. They're just, like it was very much poo pooed until it was like, oh, this is going to be a dangerous situation for
yeah.
everybody involved. And so I think fear made me hide, and it definitely changed who I was, and it, physically, my body I was not healthy, I was not in a good place. Mentally, physically, it was bad. I don't think you ever get over it, but I think having a good support system around you helps. So you know that you're safe, you know that you're loved, you know that these things these people are attacking you with or saying about you, it isn't true, right? Like, because you know it's not, but, like, when you can't not internalize what's being thrown at you, right? And also being afraid for your life, afraid that someone's just gonna jump out at you and, like, do the things that they say they're going to do to you is absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
Absolutely terrifying. I will never walk to my car in the dark and not feel absolutely sick to my stomach. I will never. If I can find someone to walk with me, 1,000%. I do not like I to this day will sleep with a light on, wherever I'm at. Hotel, if my husband's not around, I will sleep with a light on. I also have become, I we grew up hunting. I'm from North Dakota. Like, we grew up hunting. I never hunted. I never thought I would be a gun person. I am Annie Oakley. I got the best score. I just am gonna put it out there because I know someone's gonna listen to this. I got the best
Absolutely.
score in
Same.
my
Same.
license to carry class, so you do not wanna mess with me. I think the guy took it and framed it. Like, I didn't miss. I didn't miss. So, I think here's what I will say. At some point, I got mad. I had my support network. I had people that believed in me. I had people that were like, "You're gonna be okay. Like, don't let this
Mhm.
person, like, you've worked so hard, you've done all these things. Don't let this person." Because I was gonna not do one of my dream bucket list jobs because I was afraid this person would show up there. I stopped speaking on stages. I stopped going places where they would promote that I would be there because I didn't feel comfortable. I was so scared. And I was so scared that, like, I would bring danger to other people, right? And so I went to therapy. I worked through it with a therapist. And I wouldn't say that I worked through it, but, like, talk about it a lot, right? At one point she said to me, she's like, "Are you really going to let fear or this human being that has never achieved anything, that has nothing better to do than throw stones at you in your glass house, are you really going to let this person or the perception of this person or the fake threats of this person, even if they become real threats of this person, stop you from doing what you're doing. Like, you are the person that bets on yourself. Are you really going to let someone who's so unhappy with their life make you unhappy in your one life? And it just kind of clicked for me. And it was that day that I was like, I am not going to let this stand in my way anymore. Like, I'm not going to let it hold me back. I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to do all of these things. I can do it in this environment. Like, I wasn't Taylor Swift levels hiring security, but I'm not gonna lie. I When we were redoing the house, did I Google bulletproof glass? Yeah, I did, because people are crazy. But I also think that it's being mindful. Just because I'm out there and I want to be promoting things, I'm not a public figure. I don't have to share my life. I'm
Yep.
never gonna share the inside of my home. I'm never gonna walk you through it. I cringe when people show their kids' faces. Like, I wouldn't even tell you how many kids I had if I had kids. Maybe I have kids, maybe I just haven't told people, you know what I mean? Like, there are things you can share to be out there and be public and build a community and have people know you and know your heart and your values and who you are. You don't have to invite them into your home. You don't have
Right.
to have a reality show. You can
Right.
show them pieces and parts without saying exactly where you are. So,
Yes.
like you, I never try to post where I am in real time. I try and give it a little bit of a lag unless I feel 100% safe and secure. Sometimes I can't help it. I don't, at this point, when I'm speaking at a conference, I don't even let them know anymore. I have no idea where the person is that has harassed me. I am tired of trying to block all the profiles that they create all the time, because how do they have so much time? But at this point, I'm probably a year removed, and I'm not gonna let it hold me back anymore,
Yeah.
because I want better for me, and I want better for the
Mhm.
people around me, and I also feel like if I can get through this, then I can show other people they can get through it too. Not in, like, a self-righteous way, like, "Look at me, I can do this," but,
For
like,
sure.
there's a light at the end of this tunnel, because there was a while I didn't think that there was.
Mhm. Yeah. Man, thank you so much for sharing all of that, and I love that, and I think it takes a very brave, not even just strong, but a very brave woman to do what you've done. So I celebrate that with you big time. And I also know you pride yourself on looking at publicity and PR as not just what it is on paper. And it sounds like you coach a lot of your clients through the mindset of visibility not being in vain, and visibility being a strategy and being something that you give permission to want visibility. And I'm sure everything you've been through has lent itself in maybe not a direct way, but in an indirect way for you to coach people through that mindset. So I'm curious, just to kind of close this out, um, what would you say if someone was listening to this and they think to themselves like, man, I really want to speak on stages. I really want to be quote unquote famous for what I do, and I want to be known, and I want to be well respected, but they have this self-limiting belief where they're like, I've grown up being told to be humble. And this is what I hear from my clients all the time, by the way. All the time. I was told to be humble, and I was told to be selfless and be grateful for what I already have. So maybe that's not my dream. And why would that be my dream? Like, maybe I need to focus more on just like giving impact and all of that stuff. How would you give someone some quick advice on that mindset?
Okay, you said two things that matter very much to me. Visibility isn't vanity. It is a leadership skill. Because yes, we were taught to be seen and not heard. We were taught to be grateful for what we have. But in being grateful for what you have, there's a flip side of that. Because you have created what I would tell my clients, and what I do tell my clients, because they same things holding me back has been holding them back, holding your clients back. You poured your blood, sweat, heart, and tears, probably all of your money, into a brand, into a business, into yourself, into the service you want to provide people. If you need to be grateful for every single thing you have, at the same time, you created those things to share them with people, because either you couldn't find something in the marketplace or someone you love couldn't find something in the marketplace. It is up to you to shout it from the rooftops as a place of service how you can help other people. That's how you show how grateful you are for what you have.
Yes.
Because if you aren't talking about what you know and what you're an expert in, someone else that's louder in your industry is, and they might be telling people the completely wrong thing. And I'm not saying you have to set them straight, but you need to follow your truth. And so I actually think, most entrepreneurs, you don't need content all the time. You need to be very clear about your positioning, and you just need to find the right opportunities to share it. You don't have to be loud, obnoxious, or an oversharer. The gifts that you have with the world are exactly why you were given those gifts. You need to share them with the world. And that's how you show how grateful you are for the wonderful life that you have.
A freaking men to that. I'm obsessed with that. That's so good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we're gonna wrap this up with a question that I ask all of the guests, and because I'm obsessed with social media, like that is the core of what I teach, and there's many different layers to social media, in my opinion. But I'm curious, especially from someone like you who had been off of social media for a while, and now you're kind of building there. What's been some of the best content advice that you've received and implemented and you're like, yes, that feels good, that's working, and it's in alignment with you and what you're doing with your social media strategy?
I am probably a social media strategist's worst nightmare in that I don't follow any of the trends. I don't pay attention to any of the things Instagram is telling me because I feel like they just gaslight you left and right like no other person can. I post what feels good for me. I know exactly what my audience, who my target audience is. I know exactly their questions, their pain points, because on my side businesses, I am my target audience. And so I post what's fun for me. I show a glimpse into my life that I feel comfortable so they get to know me as a person and my values and if they think that we would work well together, right? Like I'm very loyal, but I'm very competitive. I want you to win and I'm going to push you hard. I have high standards for myself. I have high standards for my client. Like some people don't operate in that environment. I'm not the right person for you. So I show those glimpses, but outside of that, I try and be helpful with what I'm posting and I try and be friendly. But I treat social media like I am the sober version of that drunk girl you meet at the bar on a Saturday night. And I'm telling you, your outfit's good and your makeup's fire and your boyfriend Tom sucks and you should dump him because you're way too hot for him. That's who I am. I just want to be your hype girl. I want everyone to succeed and every single thing I want for myself that's good, I want it for the next person.
That is good. I love that, KJ. Thank you so much for being on the show. And where can we find you? I know your book. You said you're going on tour. Is there an opportunity to like buy it in pre-sale? Like, tell us what you want to leave us with in terms of where we can find you, maybe how we can work with you, and all the things.
You can find me on my website, hearsaypr.com, or on Instagram at KJ Blattenbauer. And then my book, Pitchworthy, comes out January 13th. And because I want everyone to have access to public relations, it's going to be 99 cents that day.
Oh
So
my
you can get
gosh.
it on Amazon January 13th because I want everyone to be able to promote themselves and feel comfortable doing it.
I will be putting that in my calendar, and on January 13th, I will be purchasing Pitchworthy. So I'm excited for you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. Well, thank you so much again for being here. Happy New Year. Cheers to all the things in 2026. And I will see you when you come through my city, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. Lots of fun.
So fun. So fun. All right.